Yo, miss, you good? You
No,
good?
I'm not.
Yo,
He's
you,
bothering me.
why you bothering her?
And he's been bothering me for some time now.
No. Leave her alone. No.
If you knock it down, I will.
No.
If you don't, I'll knock you out.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll knock you out one punch. Go ahead.
Let's do it.
Go ahead.
Let's do it.
Leave her alone. Leave the fucking lady alone, man. Leave fucking ladies alone. Women gonna be protected out here, you dumbass.
One punch, one moment. But what you're really seeing is years of mounting tension in New York City streets finally reaching its breaking point. I was fortunate enough to sit down with the man in that video. Can you walk us through what the initial situation was that prompted you to get involved?
Okay, so, I had a free day, so I was just like, let me go to the art supply store and grab some supplies up, because, I do clothing, I do art and stuff like that. So I'm walking down the street. I got my Ray-Ban glasses where I can record on them right now. So I happen to just be vlogging, and I was like, let me just turn them on. So I'm walking down the street, and the glasses doesn't pick up all the audio, but I'm hearing like the lady saying, don't touch me, get away from me.
She good?
I have a longer version of the video, 3 minutes, where you can kind of see the guy kind of like following her around the area and like kind of like harassing her a little bit more. This is New York, so initially I'm thinking like, is this like a drug addict couple, going through some type of domestic situation? So I'm like, what's going on here? So I'm processing, trying to figure out what's the situation. And I get to the corner, and that's why I asked myself in the video, like, is she good? And I pretty much answered it because I'm like, nah, she's not good. So I turn back around, and initially, I didn't go straight to them, but I kind of go off to like the right, and I listen out a little bit more. Then I hear what's going on a little bit more. So that's when I approached the lady. I was like, yo, are you all right? Are you good? She's like, no, I'm actually not. He's been bothering me for quite some time. And, I calmly stepped in. That's all I pretty much needed to hear.
This is actually a follow-up question. Have you witnessed similar incidents like this in New York City? And if so, how is this different?
I've actually happened to catch this on camera. I've been stepping in for women for all this year. And it's like, that's what I've been noticing as a man. Like, they target women. I can be standing right there on the same street, and they'll go straight to a group of girls or a single lady and ask them for $1 or harass them for whatever reason. They usually target women. I was walking, I saw the situation, I stepped in, and the first thing he did was he tapped his pocket and went inside his pocket. So as New Yorkers, what is he doing?
Yep.
Going for a knife, right?
Yep.
So that's the first thought. I was ready to punch him right then and there because I wasn't about to get stabbed or cut. You feel me? So soon I saw his hand come out and it was nothing. So he reached out. You could kind of see like a disappointed look on his face, like, damn, I don't have my knife or whatever. And he kind of like reached out, like, knock it down or I will.
If you knock it down, I will.
No.
If you don't, I'll knock you out.
And that's when he started kind of proceeding to throw his stuff off. And I was like, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just waiting for him, like, for self-defense reasons, like, go ahead, swing first. He started revving up like he was about to punch me. So that's why I just kind of socked him. I hit him. I was like, I'm not about to. My uncle always told me sometimes you can knock the fight out of somebody. So
very true. In that case, you definitely did.
Yeah. So in that case, I was just like, you know what? Let me just knock the fight out of him and not worry about it. Because I know I can handle myself when it comes to like endurance and stamina, like in the long run. Like, it's just like, I don't even feel like I got time for that.
While social media debated whether this response was excessive, New Yorkers know a darker truth. On these streets, in these subway cars, a simple harassment can spiral into tragedy in seconds.
At least once a week, I'll see some sort of violence or some sort of outburst.
Just days ago on a subway car like any other, a woman's daily commute turned into a nightmare when she was deliberately set on fire. No warning, no provocation, just another random act of violence in a city that's becoming numb to headlines like these.
The woman who was set on fire and who was killed in that Brooklyn subway car has now been tentatively identified. That's how police are describing it. They say the victim appears to be 61-year-old Debrina Kawam. They believe that she was homeless, sleeping on the subway cars when she was killed.
What do you think prevents people from getting involved and intervening in these sorts of situations? What is it?
The danger of self-preservation, and that's pretty much it. Self-preservation. People care a lot more about themselves than others.
What advice would you give to other people that might encounter something like this? If someone's in the position you were in?
Assess yourself, know your skill set, know what you're capable of to be able to jump into any situation. If you can't fight, if you don't have any type of skills, I would suggest keep it moving. Or not keep it moving, but try to get the police or try to get somebody that's more qualified to subdue this person. But the main thing is assessing yourself and knowing what you're capable of and knowing what other people are capable of and going forward that way. Like anticipating what can happen, The
cruel reality is that none of these situations are isolated. Watch any local news broadcast, scroll through any neighborhood forum, and you'll find the same pattern emerging. 3 people stabbed in broad daylight.
The woman who died tonight is 36 years old. 2 men, all also died from their injuries from the attacks. The suspect tonight is facing 3 counts of murder.
Another camera captures him walking along the sidewalk right before police say he stabbed a 36-year-old construction worker, killing him.
Random attacks that shattered not just lives, but our collective sense of security.
Again, another tourist minding his business slashed in an unprovoked attack. The 42-year-old man was visiting from Italy and was simply walking on Madison Avenue when a woman swung a knife at him and cut his right hand.
This is the New York that doesn't make the tourism brochures. This is the New York that our leaders seem determined to ignore. Now, what have you noticed in New York City? Have you noticed a shift in violent crimes or things just from your anecdotal perspective? Like, what have you seen in the streets? Has it gotten worse, or is it pretty much what it has been the last few decades?
I'm almost 40 years old, so I grew up in the 80s, so I've seen all the chain snatching and all other stuff. So it's not that same New York City. I would say it's safer in the sense of overall grand scheme, but it's like the little things, like it's like the preventative measures. Like, I think society is having a hard problem with trying to prevent things. We have to become more preventative, and that's the problem. It's like we wait till things happen after the fact.
You know what's interesting? A lot of the comments I received in the video that I posted, the short, they were saying some viewers felt the punch wasn't called for, that the person was unwell or intoxicated. Now, having been there in person, what were you picking up about the situation that might not be visible in the video? And I think you alluded to it previously, but what was the energy from him? You felt like you said he was probably gonna make a move.
My grandmother was a nurse, so she had patients with mental health issues, like real serious things. So it's like, I know how to assess if somebody's well. And, you know, like, I'm from the hood, so you don't get points for doing certain things against somebody that can't defend themselves, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't look right in a sense. Like, he just looked like a drug user to me. Somebody just like on crack or K2. Like, well, I come to find out, I got information on the guy after the fact, but I think he lives in a Bowery shelter. He's one of K2 smokers that just bums asking for change to get weed in K2. You know, to me, whatever questions as far as mental health goes, it's self-induced. We have to stop bailing people out when their whole life has been bad decisions and they can just get a bailout at some point. So it's like, nah, it's a new day. There's no more bailouts. If you need to get right, if there's something wrong with your internal, that's a personal problem. You got to deal with that.
While New Yorkers dodge violence on subway platforms, Governor Hochul's administration has spent $555 million on congestion pricing infrastructure. You heard that right. $555 million that we pay for. Think about that. Hundreds of millions of dollars on cameras and sensors to charge people for driving into Manhattan, while emergency response times climb and subway violence continues unabated. Just the other day, a man was pushed onto the train tracks.
We had horror inside this station. With no apparent warning, he pushes the man just as the train pulls in.
First responders would go between the stopped subway cars to rescue the 45-year-old victim. Less than an hour after the attack, a suspect was in custody.
Tomorrow there will be another headline, and through it all, our leaders offer the same rehearsed responses, the same empty promises of change.
This is not in response to a specific crime. We're not seeing a trend that's alarming, but it's about continuing a strategy that has proven its success and expanding it to protect even more people.
I stated at the beginning of the video, I said, you know, this man just saved a woman's life, something to that effect. And a lot of the commenters thought that it was hyperbolic, but I want to ask you, can you share your thoughts on how quickly these situations can escalate based on your experience? Because, you know, yeah.
0 to 60 real fast. I was not expecting the man to be like, all right, I'll knock you out. I was like,
he put up his hands like on some Bruce Lee, like, 1975 with the open fingers.
I don't know if he just took a hit of some K2 or or something. He wasn't in his right mind at that current moment. But my whole thing was this. He was doing the same exact thing to the lady, trying to get her to dap his hand up, right? So as quickly as he went to violence with me, you don't think he would have went to violence quicker with that woman?
Facts, yes.
That's what people have to realize. The fact that, like, us as men, we know that the way we interact and how we speak to each other is our code and how we move forward. So if I disrespect you, somebody might have to pass away after that. The fact that he went so quickly to that with me, I know he would have did that even faster with that lady.
Yeah, he was looking for an easy victim, no doubt about it.
And it didn't matter if the people wasn't around or not.
The congestion pricing plan will force thousands more people into this already strained system. The same system where that woman was set on fire. The same platforms where people are pushed onto tracks. The same trains where harassment turns deadly. That viral punch you saw, that wasn't about one man protecting a stranger. It was about all of us. Every New Yorker who's ever held their breath when someone unstable enters the train car. Every parent who's grabbed their child a little bit tighter on a subway platform. Every person that has to worry about getting stabbed while they go to the ATM. What would you say to viewers who think intervention wasn't necessary? What would you say to those commenters?
I would say think about your mother, think about your grandmother before you open your mouth, before you think that thought. Think about your female cousins, the little girl daughters in your family. Like, think about those people first. Like, they not worth it? They not worth protecting? Is this the message that we sending? Women aren't worth protecting. You feel me?
Crazy.
Men became weak and women became became bitter through men's weakness, and that's how the world works.
That's
and
a bomb.
nobody can tell me difference. I think the world's messed up because men aren't stepping up. We're not standing up anymore. They want to be led by stand-up dudes. They don't want to be led off the cliff.
Listen, this isn't purely about politics, and it's not just about statistics. This is about a city at war with itself, where the people on the ground live one reality while the people in power sell another. Yeah, man, I appreciate you taking the time and reaching out, and also respect for stepping up, because a lot of people aren't doing it, man. And
Yeah,
you put
man.
yourself at risk doing it, so it's admirable, man.
Yeah, even just like high risk, high reward. You know, I put it up there. Everybody's like, why would you put it up? Because the guy got up and said this to me.
Right on.
He got up and said, he had the birdies over his head and said, I'm good.
So he got up after that, because the last frame is
He
actually
was breakdancing down the street. Man.
damn crazy K2 head.
Man. He was breakdancing down the street, and I was like, oh my God, this is a manslaughter charge. He got up, he gave me a thumbs up, and that's why I said, that's what you get for messing with old ladies, and walked off. So I was just like, all right, he ain't died. Thank God.
Every morning, millions of New Yorkers step onto trains and into streets, hoping today won't be the day they become another headline. They deserve more than hope. They deserve leaders who will acknowledge the crisis we're living through, not hide behind press releases and photo ops. Now remember this, the next time someone tells you New York is safer than ever, ask yourself, safer for who?